Well, it's 5 o'clock here, and we'll call our February 20th Parks, Lakes, Trails Commission regular meeting to order. Jamie, could we do a roll call, please?
Jason Steenblock.
Here.
Jackie McNamara. Here. Terry Steenblock. Here. Jack McKenzie. And Doug Ramseth.
Here. Our next thing is a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Doug, do you approve the agenda?
Oh, for the agenda, I was thinking, yes.
All right, perfect.
Next is open forum.
You gotta take that to a vote. All those in favor?
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed? Sorry.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
All right, I'll check the open forum here. All right, so there's no one on the open forum for this evening.
Okay. Next, we'll go to our regular agenda. Our chair appointments are first.
All right, so members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, this is our first regular meeting of 2018. Before we begin, I just want to welcome a new commission member, Doug Ramseth. We look forward to having you on our Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. He's got a pretty extensive background, especially regarding lake activities, and I think he's going to bring a lot of great ideas and energy to our commission. So welcome to Doug Ramseth.
Thank you.
And with that, this evening we need to appoint a new chair and vice chair for our Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. With that, if there are anybody interested in that, either position, we'll start with selecting somebody for the chair of our Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission for the 2018 year.
Don't look at me. I'd be happy to make a nomination.
That would be great.
I will nominate Jason Steenblock to chair the Parks, Lakes, and Trails Commission.
Is anybody else interested in this, or would we want to second that?
I'll second that.
I have an interest as well.
Okay, so Jason, is that something that you'd like to do, or you guess at this time there's a motion and second, you can open it for discussion.
I would like to pass on that.
Okay.
That was not nice.
I'm
That was unexpected.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right.
It's a little new for me to do this, so.
Okay, so then what?
So Terry's also interested, so we could see if someone wants to make that nomination, or if Terry would like to take that position, if someone wants to make a motion and approve that.
Terry, you're interested in that position?
Yes.
Then I will nominate you to chair the Parks, Lakes, and Trails Commission.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Passes.
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 All right, so Terry will be the new chair of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission for 2018, so thank you, Terry. We also do need to nominate a vice chair for the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, so again, if anyone's interested, otherwise we can take a nomination for that as well, for the vice chair. And the vice chair will fill in the absence of the chair of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. Anyone interested in that?
I would accept that. I would be interested in that position.
Okay. We'd look for a motion if someone wants to nominate or assign Jackie.
I'll nominate Jackie McNamara for vice chair.
All right.
All those in favor?
We need a second to that.
We should second, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes.
All right. So with that, Terry, you will be the chair and begin your duties the rest of the meeting for tonight at our Parks, Trails, and Lakes meeting. So with that, we can move to item number regular agenda 5B, which is approve the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission meeting minutes from December 19th.
So we need to approve the meeting minutes from December 19th, 2018. Do Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission meeting minutes for December 19th.
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion on the meeting minutes?
Can I just ask, because I have not reviewed them, where they were for us to review? Were they just online?
They were
Or they
emailed
were in that
out.
packet from last week?
They were emailed out a month or so ago. I had them
Oh,
done, and then
those, okay.
also in the packet.
Okay, you're right. Okay, I'm
But we
confused on the
can
date, so that's my mistake.
That's
So
okay.
I have reviewed those, so I can second that.
Okay.
You can, that was a second?
Yep.
Okay. Any just further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
So motion carries to approve the meeting minutes for the December 19th, 2018 meeting.
Okay.
17, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Next on the list, we have the Eagle Scout project for consideration, and we have a guest here with us this evening.
All right. So I'll just do a little introduction here for you, Kyle, and then I'll turn it over to you in just a minute here. So members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, at the end of 2017, in the summer, we had our intern provide some ideas to the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission on potential Eagle Scout projects. As we do get off, it's often that we get requests, and it was nice to be proactive in having some ideas that we'd be interested in for our community. Tonight, we will see a brief presentation from Kyle Maxon, who is looking to do an Eagle Scout project. I have met with Kyle, and he is interested in providing a little free library, which is one of the ideas that we were interested in on our spreadsheet or our idea list. So he will go through his presentation here in just a minute. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for him. But this evening he is looking for questions, comments, and ultimately seeking approval from the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission to move forward with this project. And again, he'll describe it in greater detail. Once he completes his presentation, they'll be open to the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission for any questions or discussion at that time. Again, ultimately looking for approval to move forward with this. So just give me one moment, and I'll get this up on the screens for you, and then I'll turn it over to you, Kyle. All right, and for members of the commission, this is in your agenda packet and on your screens as well as to follow along. With that, Kyle, you can go ahead and give your presentation.
All right, so I was talking with Jamie, and she said the Forest Lake Police Department would like my little free library. And so she threw out some ideas, and I originally came in thinking, doing a little kayak, canoe rack at one of the lakes here. But I decided, this seemed a little more appropriate and seemed to go better. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Lino Lakes, moved up to Forest Lake last year, and then I'm still attending White Bear Lake School District. I've been scouting since I was in second grade. When I'm not in school, I enjoy hunting, fishing, outside, hanging with my friends, or working on cars, or, I like getting my hands dirty. And I'm currently a Life Scout, and I need to get my Eagle Project and one merit badge, and then I'll be able to Eagle Scout. And so a little more about the Eagle Project. For my project, I'd like to do a little free library for the Forest Lake Police Department. And I think it'd be something different to do and something that the community would benefit from. And there's some pictures of the police reading with their kids, which Jamie mentioned they'd like to do with the younger kids. That's the rough dimensions right there. The materials will be made out of treated wood, so it's weather resistant. I plan to put it into the ground and have it cemented so people can just take it out, or it stays there in place. Location, Jamie mentioned Lakeside Memorial Park would be a very good location for the library. So I was agreeing with her and think it'd go perfectly right up next to the lake. The layout, the little library will have a bottom for books, and we'll also have a second layer or a shelf in there, so you can have more books. I plan to fill it with younger kid books, because that's mainly what this is for the Forest Lake Police Department to read with the kids. Jamie mentioned it'd be nice to have a little free library plaque on it. That way, when you buy one of those plaques, they have a big old map of all these libraries, and you can go onto our website and see where they are. So when you get that plaque, you're able to put it in location so people around here will know where it is, and if they want to go check out a book or go read with the police department, they can look it up and go find where that is. I was thinking for colors of it, either go with Forest Lake Rangers colors and maybe the logo on the side of it, or doing it the police department colors with the police department badge on the side of it. The little free library will have a glass door to open to put books into, and I was two hinges and a magnet on the other side of the hinges so the door keeps shut. And then scroll down, Jamie. Thank you. When it's ready to go into the ground, I plan to go to my sister's school, which is Leela International School District, and see if they have any extra books. I plan to go see some friends, see if they have any kids' books that they can donate to fill it with. I would like to do this. I'd like to have the project ready to go into the ground as soon as possible. And once the responsibility after this is finished, I plan to go into the Marines once I graduate from high school. So the responsibility and maintenance would be on you guys, but all paints and wood and extra materials can be donated if you guys would like. And any extra books that can't fit in there, or there's just too many books, I'll donate that too. And you guys need to put more books in there for the Forest Lake Police Department to read with them. Final information. The cost of the project would be raised through fundraisers, and I plan to work on with Jamie and get everything passed through her and make sure the city approves of it and everything's up to you guys' specification. If you guys want me to come back later with more details and planning of how the project will go and more updates on it, I'd be more than willing to come back at another meeting.
All right, thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
With that, we can open it up to questions from the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. I also can provide some additional feedback on the little free libraries from what I've known and some requests that have come in. I know Kyle referenced the Forest Lake Police Department is very interested in having one of these at at least one of our parks in Forest Lake. As you can see from some of the pictures Kyle provided, Little Free Library is out of Hudson, Wisconsin, and you've probably seen them in different communities or maybe even around Forest Lake. But they are pretty popular, and it is a great way to bring community together. It is very common for police departments to schedule a certain night, maybe in conjunction with Arts in the Park, that they lead a community story time with youth is our particular focus. So I have had that request from the Forest Lake Police Department to see if there was a way to build that partnership. You sometimes can get these donated, but it's also a great Eagle Scout project to consider, so that is why we had it on the list. With that, if there's any questions or comments, I'll turn over to Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission.
Is the police department, have they commented on the location? Is that their preferred location?
No, that was just through Jamie. I haven't asked them. I don't know if they know about it yet or how much they know. But I was planning to go, see them at a later date and check with one of their people and see what they would like. And since it's for them, they should really have say in what happens and everything, see what they want to do for colors and everything. So I haven't really talked with them yet.
The police department does know that I was going to actively pursue this for a city park. Lakeside Memorial Park, obviously being the focal point of the community and where we focus a lot of our community events, seems to be a good location. I do see people reading books there quite often, more on near the lake access on the trail or by a tree and whatnot. So I think, those details can certainly be run by them, but I think they'd be very supportive of having it at Lakeside Memorial Park.
Do you have a question?
Actually, also, it might work out perfect next to the pavilion, so it'd be some lighted area also, so.
Is there any way on the glass door, is there a way to make that like a plexiglass versus a glass, or is that too difficult?
I didn't really know what to go with, and then, yeah, we can definitely do plexiglass for it. That way it doesn't get smashed or anything.
Are there more in our area?
I think I seen one driving up here one day, but I know when I used to live in Forest Lake, they were pretty popping up everywhere, and they become a big thing. And we'll be driving, and I'll just see one on the side of the road, or they're always popping up. It seems like.
Because are they also functional in that somebody would take a book and put in a book, or?
I think with it being at a park, it'll be more functional, and since it's more kid books, they're more or less read right there. You don't have to take the book and read it 5 days, because you can finish the book in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So I think that.
So it's going to be really structured for children?
Yes.
With children's books, okay. Well, I was concerned about the vandalism and the glass, and that was always brought up, so I really like the arts in the park, though, it being a function, an actual event happening while we have all those people in the park, because there are a lot of kids up there, so I think that's a great idea.
I agree.
So with that, if you guys are if there's no other questions, maybe we can see if there's a recommendation of support for him to continue pursuing this, working with city staff on any details, and keep you posted with coming back with a final design specification and location. Jackie?
I think there's a time constraint here, and I think it's a great idea. I think that you as our leader could control the location and so on and so forth, and because you have ideas and suggestions already, and the design. So I would move forward to approve your project, make a motion to approve your project and get it moving.
I think it's a very good project. I would second that.
So we have both a motion and a second to move forward with the free library. Any discussion? Oh, I forgot to motion. We did motion. Any discussion?
Nope, none from me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Great
Good
job.
job.
Next on the agenda is the Arts in the Park Entertainment Agreement.
All right, Chair and members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission. Before you this evening, included in your agenda packet, is our Arts in the Park Music Entertainment Promoter Contract. Just a little more detail because we do have some new members. We do contract and have had several conversations about this year. Did decide to move forward with pursuing an agreement with Woody McBride to schedule, promote, and be on site for our Arts in the Park concert series this summer. This is our formal agreement that does require city council approval. So it first comes to Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission with a motion to recommend to city council to approve the agreement. As you see here, it's Tuesdays, June 5th through August 28th, with the exception of July 3rd, which we decided to withhold having Arts in the Park due to all the other festivities and events happening surrounding the 4th of July activities. The contract is very similar in nature to last year. There were no notable changes. The compensation rate remains the same, And last year, the only change, we did the music from 6 to 8, but we are putting that back to 6:30 to 8:30 as previously discussed in discussions at former meetings leading up to this year. Again, the total compensation is $300 for each week. And again, that's to help recruit the music and entertainment, work with the promoters on finalizing any paperwork and contracts, being on site, providing sound and production. Those are most of the duties. And the only thing new I did add this year is Mr. McBride requested that the city provide a parking spot, which I think is something we were able to accommodate for him. So I included that language in this agreement. We also just added a little bit language. If you look letter F, let's see here, it's number promoter's duty, so number 2F. We just kind of elaborated on some language around the cancellation of due to inclement weather. We did put a time of no later than 3 p.m. And then the promoter will work with the musical acts to potentially reschedule at a mutually agreeable date and will let us know if there's any additional costs to do so. Other than that, we again just make sure that the music promoter is communicating on behalf of the city. They are an independent contractor, not city employed. They act on behalf of the city and represent the city in good manner. And there's a list of compensation. I did make a brief update to the packet that you may have looked at yesterday per a late request from Mr. McBride. I just changed item number 3A. It's a minor change. The first payment was originally requested at $600, and that was something that I just had in there from last year. He has put in an extensive amount of work in this planning session, so he just had requested that the first installment be $1,000, which I am supportive of and don't have any issues of adjusting that. Therefore, his second payment would be $900 on June 5th, provided that he's not in default under the agreement. And a third and final payment would be $1,400 on July 24th, again, provided that he's not default under this agreement. With that, I think everything else remained the same. Again, number 11, he does require he will provide a copy of his liability insurance, and that would be what we have listed here for the agreement. So with that, this evening, looking for a motion to make a recommendation to City Council to approve the agreement between the City of Forest Lake and Mr. McBride for Arts in the Park Entertainment.
I'll make a motion to approve the Arts in the Park Entertainment Agreement.
I'll second it.
So we have both a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question. Have we already seen the list of entertainers and the dates?
We have seen that, and all of their individual contracts will come to you as well, and probably by our March 20th meeting if those are obtained.
Okay, all right.
But we did approve and sign off on the proposed list and cost.
Okay,
And it's a really great lineup, so I think we're excited about that.
I agree.
Jamie, if we have a cancellation by 3 p.m., will the farmer's market either be allowed to continue or be canceled?
That would be something outside of this agreement.
Okay.
We've talked a little bit about, obviously there's the financial cost associated with having the bands perform. So by 3 o'clock, we would need to decide if we're gonna continue with that investment or not. Likely if the band's canceled, more times than not, we'll cancel the whole event. In the past, we've kind of left it up to vendor discretion. If we inform them that the band's not playing, it's still up to them if they want to set up and take the time to do that, knowing your attendance is probably not going to be very high at the event. So case by case situation on that.
Okay. Any other questions? So all in favor of approving the Arts in the Park Entertainment Agreement?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. All right, so next agenda item
Is the playground equipment for the Lakeside Memorial Park.
All right, thank you. Chair and members of the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, just this evening on the regular agenda, the playground equipment for Lakeside Memorial Park is an item. There's no supporting documentation. It's more of a discussion, and if comfortable, looking forward to a motion this evening to support the proposed idea and project in conjunction with the grant opportunity. So obviously over the last year or so, we've identified the issue at Lakeside Memorial Park with the equipment, with the shifting that has taken place with the proximity to the lake. Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission have thoroughly reviewed different options, including some themed concept structures. We've looked at a different playground, and we've also most recently in the last few meetings talked about inclusive playground or having pieces at the park that are inclusive. So with that, there's a Minnesota DNR outdoor recreation grant opportunity due March 30th. And from previous years, a lot of communities that have been awarded funding, a handful of them have received funding for improved safety and accessibility. So I think with the inclusive playground and some discussions that we've had amongst ourselves as a Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, an inclusive playground would make that a really strong application for the grant and really service the needs of people of all abilities at Lakeside Memorial Park. I know there's also some interest in potential partnerships because of the nature of the project if we would look into an inclusive playground. So I think that's a benefit of considering that for our community. We've also talked a little bit about taking the existing equipment and potentially relocating that to a new location that would service that park or an underserviced park, potentially a neighborhood park that may not have equipment or just could use an upgrade. The equipment will still be salvageable. It's by no means something that has reached its lifespan, which is about 18 to 20 years. It's currently 12 years old, and there will be some parts that need to be replaced, but for a fairly reasonable cost, we can get that to another park. So with that, tonight I just wanted to finalize any discussion on this. Otherwise, looking for support in favor of pursuing the grant opportunity for an inclusive playground. Again, due March 30th with the Minnesota DNR Outdoor Recreation Grant.
Will the footprint for the new equipment be the same as the old?
Yes, it would. That's a great question, and the equipment would remain in the existing container space that we have. I've had some installation experts out there to review the situation that we've had. The equipment was installed as a direct bury, and that probably wasn't the best method. So we want to make sure that when we go down this road that we're making this investment and don't have this occurrence happen again in another 10 to 12 years. So the theory is to install a concrete slab that the equipment can be mounted to, so there isn't that shifting in from the freeze and thaw of the lake. So it will be in the same existing space.
Will the equipment that's for disabled or other children, is that in addition to what was there, to the type of things that were there before, or will you reduce something to include those, or how will that work?
It would be very similar in nature, and I think the next steps in this process will be really honing in on what features of an inclusive playground we'd like to be pursuing for our park and at Lakeside Memorial Park, which would then come to the Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission again. If necessary, we can hold a workshop in early March. But we also have our March 20th Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission meeting. So in this next month or so, really working on that design feature so that we're encompassing enough play activities that are suitable for people of all abilities. So inclusive play is really an opportunity that people of any ability can play amongst each other. So if you have a sibling in a wheelchair, they could, theoretically be playing together on the playground. Some of that includes, having ramps accessible for the playground, and other features that just are accessible, meaning, from a wheelchair level.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jackie?
What is the, your deadline to file for the grant is March 30th?
Correct.
What's the time span for knowing if it's granted or not?
I believe grants are awarded in June, by June.
So if the grants are awarded in June, does that mean that we're really holding off that long to order new equipment?
Correct. So
The right timeline?
we could have a fall installation of 2018. So the working theory is focus on this project for the grant opportunity. We would at that point, when we're applying for the grant, have exactly what we're looking for and that total cost. And if awarded the funding, obviously we would then be able to purchase and move forward.
Okay.
I think if we don't receive the funding, we may need to have conversations if we scale back, and maybe after the grant has been submitted, we talk about a contingency plan or funding wise. Inclusive playgrounds are significantly more expensive. They also require, highly recommend poured in place surfacing. It's truly the only truly accessible material for surfacing, which obviously is a little more expensive as well. However, given the grant opportunity, I think this really strengthens our chances at receiving funding and potential other support in the community. Given the inclusive nature of the playground, I think that we would be able to put in a great piece of equipment for a great value. So if that answers your question, find out in June, and then from there we'd be able to purchase and install in fall.
It's a matching grant?
It is a 50%
50%
match.
matching grant?
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to look into inside of an inclusive playground up in Lakeside. It's flat area and would help the surrounding community and people with abilities to play.
Perfect.
I would like to make a motion. I would like to make a motion that we pursue the DNR outdoor recreation grant and look at Lakeside Memorial Park being an inclusive playground.
Second.
Any discussion?
Good question.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you say you want to put in a flat surface so you don't have the same problems as before. So whoever installs this, is there a warranty that goes with this? So then in the event that something shifts in the next 8 years, that they have to come back and fix it?
Yep, that's a great question. With the current manufacturers of the equipment, that is something that we've talked about, because the first thing I did was it's under warranty. Obviously it was installed before my existence here at Forest Lake, and it's new ownership and they don't have that because of how it was installed. But that was one of the questions I asked, is how do we guarantee a warranty? So if they have their experts out there and they're doing the installation, the warranty is a big piece of the puzzle that would need to be confirmed and in writing, and making sure that that's covered if we would have this instance again. So that was something we've talked about. And their installation expert, they were gonna verify that that would be covered, given that they've done the work. So ultimately there is some variance, because it really depends on which company we end up purchasing from. We have to get multiple bids, but very aware and wanna make sure there's a guarantee associated with the purchase and investment.
Any other discussion, questions? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
So Jamie, we have the Park and Recreation Coordinator updates. Fenway Park Maintenance is first on the list.
All right, thank you. So this evening, provided as a separate cover, there's copies for the public as well. There's a copy of the Fenway Park maintenance agreement between FLA and the new selected maintenance provider at Fenway Park. This is just an update this evening. I know that the Fenway Area Athletic Association is looking at this agreement tonight at their board meeting. So just an update to you to become aware of the terms and conditions with that. I know from our joint workshop, Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, as well as City Council, were really interested in making sure that every party was supportive of the agreement to move forward. So this is just an update tonight, that you should be seeing this at our March 20th meeting. So in the meantime, if there's any comments or questions you may have, certainly let me know. But again, really waiting to get some feedback from FLAW once they've had a time to review this as a FLAW board, which is happening tonight as well. So just an update for you guys on that. You can certainly review the copy and let me know if you have any questions or concerns. But from a timing perspective, I know we have, the city council is interested in seeing this as well. So they'll likely see that potentially at the end of the month as just an update as well. And we have our March 20th meeting, and city council meets again on March 26th. So just to know that that's kind of up and coming in the next month. And I can give you a little more information, Doug, at a later time if you're interested on getting you up to speed on the Fenway maintenance piece. But tonight, if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Any questions?
I haven't read this, but is there something about the type of weed control they would do? You know, the kids are playing out there, so is there some concerns? Are there any concerns about the products that they use, and should we specify certain products?
That's a great question, and the individuals applying the fertilizer and weed control have to be registered through, I believe, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. So they are qualified to administer the applications properly. And in regards to the specific product itself, we do have the labels of what they will be providing, so we can review those to make sure that there aren't any concerns. From what my understanding, I'm not an expert in lawn care or fertilization, but I believe them to be, I think it's a pretty commonly used product in this industry. So that's a great point. We can make sure we check before we move forward with.
It's at the bottom of page 2. It talks about pollution control agency.
Yeah, so this was, page 2, it's under Article 2, the field maintenance services. When we went through the bid process or just getting some, the Jack McKenzie actually on our Parks, Trails, and Lakes Commission, he's gonna be a great one to speak of this. It's like another language to him. He's very diversified, he teaches courses on it, but he made that recommendation that whoever is doing the maintenance at Fenway Park becomes MPCA certified prior to May 1st. So I think, we'll just make sure that's all taken care of, but I feel pretty confident that we should be set to go there. But a good point to look into.
So we have the Power of Produce.
All right, the update this evening on the Power of Produce Pop Club at the Farmers Market. The University of Minnesota Extension, they had a grant opportunity for funding to communities that have a farmer's market that would like to offer free produce to their youth. So in conjunction with Health Up and supporting this, we've received $2,000 in funding to run this Power of Produce Club at the Farmers Market for 2018. It is something that will be an 8-week program beginning the Tuesday, July 8th. I believe it's the 8th. It's the week after the 4th of July. So it's an 8-week program. It's a limited time, and no additional staff needs to be hired or anything. It's going to be a fun little program. Basically, I'll have the farmers market manager that we hire annually be represented, and children ages 4 to 12 can check in, sign up for this little club. Every week they get a $2 token and they get to shop the farmer's market. They turn their tokens in, they get a little produce, and then at the end of the night, the park, myself, I'll be on site, or my staff member, they reconcile with the vendors. So the vendors have to choose to participate, which Tefla did this, community education did this for one night a couple years ago, and the vendors had no problem supporting this. It was really fun to do. And then from the grant funding, we will then just reimburse the vendors for how many tokens they've received. So it's a fun little program. The Hardwood Creek Library, they are interested in doing like a pop-up library in conjunction with that to kind of facilitate some crafts and activities that teach about farmers markets or farming, produce. So I think it's going to be a great educational tool and really help people, draw people to the event. Something that we can offer through grant funding, no additional cost to the city other than a little bit of my time to get it up and running, which the University of Minnesota, they have a whole guidebook on it, so it's pretty simplistic to kind of follow their lead and get that going. So I think it'll be something fun to try for the 8 weeks this year and see how that goes. I do attend I'm in a little network with city metro farmers market managers, and Minnetonka's had huge success. They started it last year and they ran out of funds, donated funds pretty quickly, but then their community just decided to continue to support it because it was such a good program. Elk River, they ran it last year for the first time, had $2,000, and they went through just about their $2,000, and that was a good success for them. So just an update that's coming. I think it's going to be a great little addition to the event. So
Nice.
Any questions on that?
No, I think it's a great idea.
So next we have the Easter egg hunt.
this is just a quick little update that the Easter egg annual city-sponsored Easter egg hunt will take place on Sunday, March 25th from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. The rollout for marketing of this will take place starting this week, so I'm just getting some details organized for that. Last year we had some weather conflicts the weather didn't cooperate, and we ended up moving indoors to the YMCA. I was grateful for that opportunity. However, we actually still had a very large turnout, so Jackie was there. So I think this year it needs to remain outdoors. So just working on that policy of when we would make a cancellation by and just making sure our communication is clear to the public far in advance. I think there's too many people to bring it indoors. I'm glad we did because we were still able to offer a great event to the community. However, I think it's just going to be at the park, rain or shine, or whatever those stipulations may be. So if I need any formal approvals at our March 20th meeting, I will submit those and I'll have a little more information, but it's going to be pretty similar to the last few years where we hide the eggs per the age groups and give them prizes, and it's a little fun event. So
Awesome. Any questions on that? Comments?
And the newest appointed commission members have to be the Easter Bunny. Just kidding.
Jackie, you're gonna look cute in an Easter bunny costume.
I think I know an Easter bunny.
All right. Any other updates?
Just a really brief, we haven't had a lot. I provided separate cover budget copies. You can look at those. There's nothing notable. Haven't really had a lot of activity come through on there yet, so it's just kind of an update. Take a look. Let me know if you have any concerns. Our park dedication funding as of December 2017 was at, I think, $250,000 or so, which is an update on that. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those. But just wanted to let you know I did include those budget reports for you.
Okay, good.
And then just before we get into commissioner updates, I know for everyone that's aware, we do have our open house from 6 to 8 p.m. upstairs in the community room this evening for Parks and Trails comp planning for 2040. We did have a little meeting on that just for some preparation. It's really just get community feedback and input. So for those who are able to stick around even just for a little bit, see what that's about, that's gonna be taking place at 6 o'clock upstairs tonight.
All right, any updates from any of us on things?
I don't have anything.
No? Did you guys want to talk about the medallion hunt or Flake Fest or anything like that, or?
Sorry, we did want to know about the medallion hunt.
I'll have maybe Terry or Jason, do you just want to, obviously not disclose of any information, but any thoughts on that so far, or?
I think they're gonna have a great time hunting for the medallion.
All right.
A great time.
Clue number 2 was posted today at 3 o'clock. I had a couple diligent little some help getting that hidden, and I think it's gonna be, yeah, it's been fun so far. So if you haven't seen the clues yet, I can share with you some more, but I think it's gonna be fun. It seems like a lot of people are interested in following it on Facebook, so hopefully people get out and enjoy that and continue with Flake Festival activities. We did hot chocolate for free yesterday at the warming house at Belts Park, and my rink attendant said that it was a really nice, simple gesture for the community that who were out skating or sledding nearby. So that was a fun little thing to add yesterday. And I know there was a free movie at Lake 5 Theater and a few other things going on. So today there's some story time activities at the library, snowy story time, and some craft projects. This Friday, the YMCA has a free open house all day with a lot of free courses to take. So just stuff going on all week. The Rotary Plunge Saturday, Yellow Ribbon Breakfast on Sunday. So get out and enjoy.
Okay, awesome. Anything else? Look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.